Now they're banned, now they're not. The legal fight over non-compete agreements.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance, helping protect small businesses with a variety of coverages like general liability, workers' compensation, and commercial auto. More at progressivecommercial.com.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore in for David Brancaccio. Non-compete agreements, that is where your employer has you sign a contract promising you won't work for a competitor in the future. Originally, they were used to protect intellectual property, but they've become so widespread they can apply to fast food workers or even pottery teachers. The Federal Trade Commission wanted to ban these non-compete agreements. A federal judge in Texas has blocked that ban. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer has the details.
The Federal Trade Commission approved a rule last April that says non-compete agreements are an unfair method of competition. The rule was set to take effect next month. Non-competes generally bar workers from going to work for a competitor. The FTC rule said existing non-competes were not enforceable except for senior executives. The agency said its rule would allow workers to make more money at a new job or start their own businesses. But yesterday, a U.S. District Court judge in Texas, Ada Brown, ruled the FTC doesn't have the authority to ban non-competes. The White House issued a statement saying it continues to support the FTC ban. The agency could appeal the Texas judge's decision. A Florida judge also struck down the non-compete ban last week, although a Pennsylvania judge upheld it over the summer. The conflicting rulings mean the issue could be taken up by the Supreme Court. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
In the literal backdrop of this year's Democratic National Convention is its solidly blue host city of Chicago. And while the convention takes on some national economic themes, lowering the cost of healthcare, increasing the supply of housing, Chicago has its own economic landscape and set of challenges. Marketplace's Nova Safo took a look.
Chicago has fallen behind. It has one of the highest unemployment rates of any major U.S. city, 6.2%, far higher than the national rate. And employers like Mary Aragoni, owner of Saigon Sisters Restaurant, are looking to both parties in this election for policy solutions.
Yeah, the latest one about not taxing tip, that's my staff is going to be happy about that.
But on top of mind for Aragoni, along with higher costs, is loan sharks, as she calls them.
I get called every day about, I can give you a line of credit, I can give you this and this and this, but it's like 20%, 30% or 50%.
Before COVID, she might have taken a bridge loan during a slow month. Now she has to think twice. That means business is precarious. She can't expand or hire.
I guess more access to low interest capital would help.
This problem may not be unique to Chicago, but what is a heavy reliance on service sector jobs, says William Towns, professor at Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management.
And those industries, restaurants, retail, those sorts of things, really haven't come back. And so when you have an economy that has a lot of that in the employment sector, then you have an increase in unemployment.
An additional challenge is that Chicago has been one of the most segregated cities in the country.
But in fact, there are pockets that are really sort of challenged and is really sort of bringing down, the overall economic outlook of the entire city and region.
Mary Aragoni wants political parties to talk more about helping small businesses everywhere around the country. But for Chicago, the challenges are a lot more complicated. In Chicago, I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all up about 0.1%. Dow futures up 53 points. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is 3.821%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, aiming to help save time by offering smart business buying solutions so there's more time to focus on growing the business and less time doing the admin. More at AmazonBusiness.com. And by C3 Generative AI, verified traceable answers, secure hallucination-free, LLM-agnostic, IP liability-free C3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
Undocumented immigrants who are married to a U.S. citizen or who have a step-parent who is a U.S. citizen now have a pathway to get a work permit and a green card under a new program. Roughly 500,000 people are eligible, according to government estimates. Economists say these families and the U.S. economy stand to benefit. In Texas, Marketplace's Elizabeth Troval takes a closer look.
The new Parole in Place program for certain undocumented family members of U.S. citizens protects people from deportation and offers a work permit.
And that excites people.
Jessica Cisneros is with the Texas Immigration Law Council.
Because once you get that, you also get a social security number, and that changes the economic reality for so many families.
She's helping run an information hotline about the program. They got 250 calls their first day, some from people working without authorization.
Sometimes they have to resort to sketchy jobs, right, where they are taking advantage of.
While U.S. employers frequently hire undocumented workers, having immigration status tends to increase their wages, says Pia Arrhenius, an economist with the Dallas Fed.
You'll see higher labor force participation, especially among women who gain status.
And access to a driver's license and better jobs. Justin Yancey is with the Texas Business Leadership Council.
Undocumented immigrants in general are often in a certain few industries, including hospitality, agriculture, construction.
Being relegated to certain roles undercuts the productivity of this workforce, says Woody Hunt, a real estate developer.
They're engaged in the workforce and paying taxes, et cetera, but those limitations on what they can do keep them from fulfilling their potential.
You get productive people stuck in unproductive jobs.
Pia Arrhenius again.
They're not realizing their true value, and the employer is not realizing their true potential.
But she says, while there are clear benefits to immigration and policies that take undocumented immigrants out of the economic shadows,
that doesn't mean that everybody's a winner. Whereas most natives, U.S. workers are not competing head-to-head with undocumented immigrants. Some are. Some definitely are.
She says it's often low education workers who end up competing for jobs with undocumented immigrants. In Houston, I'm Elizabeth Troval for Marketplace.
And in New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From 8 p.m., American Public Media.